Hello, everyone, and welcome to Autism Stories, where we connect you with amazing people that help autistic teens and adults become more independent and successful. I'm your host, Doug Bletcher, the founder of Autism Personal Coach. I can't say I'm a big fan of reality TV, but there is one reality show that I watch regularly, and that is America's Got Talent. If you watch America's Got Talent as well, then you should definitely enjoy today's interview. We will be talking with Sal Spinelli, who is the vocal coach of the first Golden Buzzer winner of this season's America's Got Talent, the phenomenal Kodi Lee. In this episode, Sal will discuss how he has supported Kodi on his path to AGT. We hope you enjoyed today's conversation. Sal, thanks so much for joining us today.
Hey, thanks for having me, Doug.
So, wanted to start off by learning where your love of music began.
Well, I would say really early on, my mom used to own a dance studio, and I was always around music there. And my uncle and grandfather were musicians, so I grew up around music pretty much my whole life, and I just began to love it. I started playing music. I guess I had a serious interest when I was like 11 or 12. I got my first guitar. My dad got me, and ever since then, I thought I was in a band with like my neighbor. When I was like 12 years old, I'm like, yeah, we have a band. This is awesome. But I really didn't start focusing on playing in bands and learning how to, play with other people. Probably for like freshman in high school, and that just spiraled into years and years of being in bands and touring and recording and doing that whole thing, and it was great. And as far as teaching goes, I would say when I was in my mid-20s, I actually wanted to be an athletic trainer. So I actually went to school for like kinesiology, and then I got my EMT cert, and I just wanted to make them to firefighting or paramedic and just keep music as a fun hobby. But then I started playing music again a little bit more seriously, and I found some people that actually owned a music school and started kind of doing lessons like on the side, like a couple days a week, just because it was really fun and I enjoyed teaching. So I took a lot more interest in getting some education as far as like how to really teach music and really teach vocals. And I just started doing it with them. Like my other interests kind of wandered away, and I started picking up more students, and my schedule got really full. And I started loving teaching.
Now, I'm a weekly viewer of America's Got Talent, and on this year's season, on the very first episode, the world was introduced to the amazing Kodi Lee, a blind autistic person who was given the golden buzzer for his AGT audition from Gabrielle Union. I know you know Kodi very well. How did the two of you initially meet?
Right, so Kodi is definitely amazing. The first time I met Kodi, I believe this was just several years ago. I was working at the music school, and I had the person who was running the front desk at the time doing all the scheduling. She called me. She said, "Hey, I have a really interesting student coming on who's looking for a teacher. I don't know if you're willing to take this on." And I said, "Well, what is it?" "Well, he's autistic and he's blind and he just loves music and he can't find a teacher who connects with." I said, "Yeah, so bring him in. It sounds cool, So he came in, and immediately, they were smiles because he's just a big personality, and his mom came and brought him in, and I asked her, what she would like for him to learn, because I just knew of him for that brief time as she said he was a prodigious savant. And I said, what could he possibly learn from me? And she said, look, we're looking for someone he can connect with musically that is patient and give him just a chance just to play and to express himself through music. And I thought it was great. I thought it was an awesome opportunity. And the first song he played for me was Georgia on My Mind by Ray Charles, and that was it. I was like in tears, and he's been coming ever since, and we've been buddies ever since that.
I know that from a coaching perspective, no matter what type of coaching it is, just developing that trust and the connection with the person that you're working with is so important.
That's actually a huge thing that I didn't expect to be doing with him. Like when I think music teaching, and like it was a little bit earlier on in my teaching career that he came into my life, and I was like, oh man, like, how am I going to be able to teach him how to read music? Does he need to know what a dominant seventh is? Like, does he know what I mean? Just like trivial questions like were going through my mind, and I was like overwhelming myself. And his mom saw that, and she's like, look, he just needs to connect with somebody. And that was it. So then I let all my anxiety about the situation kind of like fall to the side. It was awesome.
Now, I've had the privilege of knowing so many creative and talented autistic people. I've come across many who are, pretty talented musicians, and figured really it was only a matter of time till one of those musicians ended up on AGT. So now, prior to meeting Kodi, had you worked with any other autistic musicians?
Not anywhere in the arena of Kodi. I've had some friends who had mild autism, or some sort of like Asperger's, that played music, but it wasn't anything to the weight of what Kodi's situation is. You know what I mean? I've been around it before, and I never get uncomfortable around people that have any type of autism or anything like that. So it was mostly new being around somebody like Kodi, but it wasn't entirely new being around an autistic person in music. I would say it like that.
So often, I think with autistic people, we focus on things that they struggle with, as opposed to supporting them using their strengths in an effort to be more successful. How have you worked with Kodi to use his strengths to develop him into an amazing musician?
Well, Kodi initially showed great strength in his vocal abilities and his piano playing, right? So I had asked his mom, what do you want to see him get better at? What does he need to focus on? Like, you know him best, Mom. Like, what do you see that he needs to work on? And she just said, I just want him to get better at what he's doing. I'm like, okay. Being able to work with him and improve his vocal range, because when he came to me, he was probably, I want to say, 16, 17-ish, maybe just before 18, and he was going through the awkward stage for teenage boys, where their voice is cracking, and his mixed voice and his blend wasn't as smooth as it was now. So we were working on that, but as far as his strengths go, we were just experimenting with, like, okay, you like R&B, like, let's turn it up to fusion, like, let's go into some really good jazz. And we started experimenting with stuff that he hasn't necessarily heard yet. He knows a lot of music, but he doesn't know all music. And seeing him shine and figuring this stuff out, like, on the fly was incredible to watch. And there are some things as far as what he's not particularly good at that we do work on. For example, understanding his body state, right, and understanding his own body alignment, and just learning how to relax and try to take a little bit of control over himself physically. So we're still working on that.
Now, in doing research for this interview, I've seen many videos of you and Kodi working together in the studio. Performing in the studio can certainly be different compared to performing in front of a live crowd. What has been the process for you supporting Kodi to perform at live venues?
Well, we initially started, like you said, doing it in the studio, and when he was working here, we really wanted to get him, which was another one of his mother's goals, was to get him to work with other musicians. So at the studio here, we also do other music lessons where kids come in and they do the rock band thing and they play. So we had some kids that would do some really advanced types of music, that were willing to work with Kodi, and we got Kodi playing some live shows with them. We do the little recitals at the end of the few months. The bands work together. Watching Kodi play live with those bands was really a surprise, because what he does in studio is great. It's like it's a controlled environment here. But the first time I saw him on stage with a band, I was like, holy cow, this is a completely different human being. It's like when he knew people were watching him, he sensed it, and it was great. And I said, Tina, to his mom, I was like, we need to have him play with the band. Like, let's get him on stage with us. And she's like, okay, well, I've been waiting for you to ask us to do that. I was like, great, let's do it. So having him on stage he has actually pulled our musicianship out of ourselves and like made us elevate where we are as musicians. And his ability to communicate, even non-verbally, his ability to communicate on stage has improved so much. The ability for him to listen is amazing to watch. We don't have to say anything, and he knows exactly what we're thinking. He knows exactly what we're doing. So it's really cool to see him on stage. It's a completely different world.
So many times on Autism Stories, I talk about the importance of community in all of our lives. When we don't have community, it's almost as challenging as when we may not have food or shelter. So quite often we develop community through things that we are really passionate about. How have you seen Kodi develop community through his love of music?
Well, that's a really good question, and the place that we live in a little town called Temecula in Southern California. It's a very rich community as far as musicians go. Like you could turn to any direction and you're going to see a musician, and it's really a blessing to be here. But Kodi, what he brings out in people around him, it makes them want to just hang around. You know what I mean? So it's inspiring. Never seen so many people in one room or one place where he's at just focus and be attentive and just leave a place wanting to be a better person, wanting to have. I think everybody that Kodi has influenced around him has really created that sense of community. People now want to help each other. If that makes any sense, there's so many. I guess so many ways to express what our community is and how he creates his own community of people around him. But he does it in every facet.
I say when we teach or we coach, you learn as much from your students as they learn from you. So what do you feel you've learned from Kodi?
I learned more from Kodi, I think, in the last 6 years than I have in my 25 years as a musician. I learned how to be patient I've learned how to not rely on words to myself. How to be a little bit more expressive and in what I'm singing or what I'm playing, and really how to listen closer to what people want. Because Kodi doesn't say what he wants. He doesn't express too much, but he gives a little bit of signs what he wants. So learning how to be in the moment and pay attention to another human being has been something that Kodi's taught me.
Now, if someone wants to learn more about you, Sal, your vocal coaching and your music, how would they go about doing so?
Well, you can go to my website, which is salvatoreSpinelli.com, and I have my email. They can contact me on there. Yeah, you could set up lessons or email me any question about me, and I'll ask. But just salvatoreSpinelli.com. That's where my information is.
Well, Sal, I really appreciate your time today. Thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Thank you for listening to today's episode, and thank to Sal for the conversation. Bill Gates said everyone needs a coach, and he was right. We all need those in our lives that will help us to achieve our goals and dreams, and that's exactly what Autism Personal Coach does. To get an autism coach for a loved one or yourself to achieve your goals or dreams, it's very easy. All you have to do is email autismpersonalcoach@yahoo.com or call us at 216-336-5889 and request a coach today. On the next episode of Autism Stories, we will talk with April Stevens, the founder of Autism from Another Spectrum. Talk to you then.
Social skill issues, verbal and nonverbal, repetitive behavior, all signs of ASD, easily angered, easily confused, hard to comprehend what is being said, standing in line, swaying back and forth. People stare at us like we are fools, getting real nervous, talking a lot, getting real fidgety. We need some distractions. Who am I? I'm a human too. I'm just like you with ASD. Who am I? I'm a human too. I'm just like